Call to order. City Clerk, please take roll.
Chair Rodriguez.
Present.
Vice Chair Johnson.
Present.
Member Williams. Excused. Member Fajardo.
Present.
Member Sierra.
Present.
Member McNair. Excused. Member Parker. Excused. Member Thompson. Excused. Member Flank.
Here.
Member Etzel.
Here.
Member Sarkeesian.
Here.
Member Camarillo.
Here.
Member Iturralde. Excused. Member Neldberg. Excused. Thank you, Chair. You have a quorum.
Item number 2, announcement regarding compliance with open meeting law.
We are in compliance. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 3, public comment. Comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion as well as amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. Seeing as there is no comment, moving on to item number 4, presentations on Youth Neighborhood Association Partnership Program applications by presenter listed on December 4th or 7th, 2023 agendas who were excused by the board on presenters' originally scheduled meeting date.
Jeff Dorkek, City Attorney. I don't think we had any absent presentations. Am I correct, Shabutin? So you can just proceed to the next item. There's no need to take any action on this one.
Thank you. Item number 5, discussion for possible action regarding the scoring and recommended funding of Youth Neighborhood Association Partnership Program for fiscal year 2023-2024.
Yes. Chibutam Yanis for the record.
Jeff Dorkek, City Attorney. So they'll need a walkthrough on how they should be, how much money they have to work with, what is the max amount for each group, and then things like that.
Chibutam Yanis for the record. So we're just going to go through each day, not in the specific order that they presented, but day 1, and then we'll go into day 2. The best way for you all to follow along on this would be through your binders. We're going to go through each individual tab. We'll be able to review how much they asked for and what they're looking for, and then we will stop after each applicant, speak on it a little bit, and then we'll continue to the next individual. Okay, please feel free to share your comments, questions, concerns. We really want this to be an open dialogue moment where we get to just a real good consensus and vote on making sure that that's the amount that we want to give to each participant. Any questions? Okay, so everyone can go ahead and turn their binder to the first group. First group was, the project name was A Taste of Culture by Advanced Technologies Academy Black Student Union, also known as AKA. So, oh, I'm sorry, this is not the AKA one, this is the Black Student Union. So their request was $2,000 for their project, and I'd like to open the floor to all of you.
Member Sierra, for the record, before we get started, Chibutam, would you mind letting us know how much we have this year for funding, as well as how many groups we have in total, just to kind of give all the other board members an idea as to what we're working with?
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Member Sierra. So for everyone's reference point, we received 21 applications, and all individuals were present and presented for their groups. In regards to the overall funding, we have more available than what was asked. So the total amount available is $45,000. Just going to log in to make sure all this is accurate. And in that, there was a total ask of $41,326.
Thank you. Member Shira, again, The reason I wanted to ask Shabutam this is just because in previous years, for those who are newer to the board, in previous years, we have had to debate up until 11 p.m. at night because we've had a lot more groups than we did funding. But this year, we present ourselves with a situation where we have an excess of funds. So for all of those on the board, if there's any group in particular who you believe stood out and who you believe could be a good recipient of additional funds if we so choose to give them more, make sure to bring those up during your comments and deliberation. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Member Sierra. I appreciate you mentioning that point. Also, something to note is that a lot of you ask great questions saying, what would you do with more funding? What would you do if you weren't able to utilize all of it? So please utilize that mindset and those thoughts when kind of going through, because if someone asked for 2,000, but it was pretty clear that they only needed 1,500 or whatever that looks like, or it'd be great for them to do the extra that they asked for, we can go through that as well. In their applications, you will see what they, on the first page, what they asked for, and that's in the top left corner. And then as you scroll through the application, you can see another section where they did ask for additional cost. So if they do have that, then we can obviously go into that to see if that makes sense, because we do have a little access. So any other questions? Great question.
Jeff Dorkak, City Attorney. I was just going to piggyback off of Chibudan's comments to all of you, and also Member Sierra's comments, to give you, being with the group for several years, what we're looking for here will be some interaction, but we don't want to necessarily stay till 11 o'clock as well. So I'll just kind of cut to the chase of how you should do this, in my view, so you can be expeditious about it. We'll go group by group, but basically have in mind, is there a group that you think should get a little bit more money than they ask for? Like, are any groups coming to mind that in the 2 days you thought, okay, they could use a little more, to, you know, Chibudan's point about that part of the application? Or on the contrary, are there any groups that maybe, you know, didn't impress you so much that you might actually say, well, let's just give them a little bit less? Those are the two big questions. Who's getting more money and who's getting less? Because otherwise, as we go through each application, if you have no issues with them, we can basically just give the group what they're asking for, because we have enough money to give everyone what they're asking for. So that's going to be kind of the straightforward way to hit the groups quickly and make our way through it. So we're at the first one. They asked for $2,000. If somebody thinks they should get less than $2,000 or more than $2,000, pipe up, say something. If someone wants to just add some basic comments of what you felt about the group, that's needed as well, just to give us a record of what you all thought. But then at some point, we need someone to make a motion for how much money, whether it's the asked for amount or a little bit less or a little bit more, whatever you want to do. And then at that point, the chair will call for a vote. So it's pretty straightforward, and you know, it doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out process, but we do want the interaction. But don't feel like you need to be up here for 10 minutes on each group. It's not necessary. So thank you.
Perfect, thank you. And this is Chibutam Yanes for the record. In addition, just know that I sent over the Google Form docs into an Excel form, so all of you utilize Google Form, or most of you, for the groups where you put in your thoughts. So if you do need some refreshers, your initials are in there. Go ahead and filter out your initials to the top there, and you can go through and see what you said as we're going. And there's a few of you that wanted to connect with individuals that presented. I've tried my best to connect you to them, or you maybe went up and did that. But if there was any individuals that come to mind like, oh yeah, I wanted to connect with them, please let me know, because I want to ensure that I get an email started and that you are an asset to these community members that want to do great work. So, sorry for that, we digress, and now we're on to number one. Once again, it's Advanced Technologies Academy Black Student Union, so organization, and this was a taste of culture.
Chair Rodriguez, are there any board members that would like to give this group extra funding? I make a motion to give Advanced Technology Academy Black Student Union a taste of culture their requested $2,000.
Then go ahead, now you can call for the vote unless there's additional comments on your motion.
All those who support the motion say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay.
Motion carried.
The motion carries.
Perfect. Now we're on to the next group, Chibutam Yanes for the record. We have AKA Teens Youth Enrichment Group as the organization. Their service project was AKA Teens Serving Our Community. The requested amount was $2,000. In the application, you could see that it was $1,996.85. And there was no additional request for funding placed into this application.
So Chair, you can ask for any comments or any motion, and I would just do it that way with each group. It'll keep you going.
Chair Rodriguez, are there any board members that would like additional funding or comments over this group?
Member Sierra, for the record, at least just for the sake of providing a comment regarding the presentation, I will note that I think looking back on my comments here, they did a great job overall. I think they were nervous, and because they are applying again, I think the only big suggestion that I had here is just making sure that next time they do, or next year if they do come to present again, at the very minimum having a PowerPoint just to kind of visualize the work that they've done and sharing photos as well as just their impact within the community. But other than that, I don't necessarily think they need additional funding. I think what they've asked for is sufficient enough to be able to carry out the project.
Chibutam Yanes for the record. I want to take full responsibility for that. We were having technical issues with the presentation, so that is something we have as a backup for you all to review if you think that'd be beneficial to see their presentation. I do have it. We just weren't able to get it through due to some complications we had with CCSD blocking communication from .net or whatever the ending was to City of Las Vegas. That wasn't rectified prior to the meeting.
Chair Rodriguez, any additional comments? Chair Rodriguez, I make a motion to give AKA Teens Serving Our Community their requested $2,000. All those in support of this motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Chibutam Yanes for the record. As we move on to our next group, the participant was CASLV DECA, DECA, and the program was a college readiness program. As requested, they actually put $2,000, and they did put a line item for an additional $400 if it was accessible to continue to invite more individuals to this SAT prep event. So please utilize that as you are making your comments and decisions.
Chair Rodriguez, is there any comments regarding this group? Member Johnson.
Hi, Member Johnson. For the record, I feel like we should give them the extra $500 they're asking for. I feel like it's very important that they have the accessibility to invite as many people as they can out.
Chibutam Yanes for the record, it was an additional $400 just to be sure on the vote.
Motion to change it to $2,400.
Second that motion.
Before you call the motion for a vote, Chair, I just wanted to, I forgot to jump in earlier and mention it, but this item has one. So Member Camarillo, I think this is your school involved in this item, is that correct?
It is.
Where am I looking here?
I'm right here.
Oh.
Hi.
Yeah. I was looking down there, this is all on Chibuda, she gave me the wrong person again, and I knew I was looking at the wrong person. 100% not on me, 100% on her. So on this item, go ahead and vote. Just mention that you go to high school with these people. So if anyone else has a situation like that, bring that up. And I think then the only one we will have someone not able to vote on is our member we have one member participate, just the one. So when we get to yours, then don't vote. But this one, just mention that you go to high school with these people.
Excuse me, I do not go to high school with them. I'm a 7th grader. I'm still part of the school community of CLV, but I do not directly go to that school.
I promoted you to freshman, 9th grade. Is that all right? No, that's fine. Okay, just you mentioned it already, so you're good to go ahead and vote. But it gives me the opportunity to, when we get to that other item later that a member's involved in, we're fine.
I make a motion to give the college readiness program the requested $2,000 with an additional $400 in funding. All those who support the motion say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
And just for clarity, this motion carried for $2,400. Perfect. Moving on, Chibuda Llanes, for the record. We are in our 4th group. And this is once again CASLV DECA, DECA. The program or the project is Entrepreneurship Pitch Competition. The requested amount for this program was $2,000. And it does appear that they did, from their cost total, ask for an additional $300. If you all want to review that and have that as part of consideration for this project.
Chair Rodriguez, is there any comment regarding this group?
I have a quick question, Member Sierra. Chibuda, if I remember correctly, I think Member Williams had brought something up regarding the award or prize. Would we have to, in the motion, stipulate that if they are to be given the money, that it's contingent upon them figuring out a way how to get a prize or an award as opposed to giving that money directly to them?
Yes, that's great, because the additional $300 was for additional funding for miscellaneous items, so we can make that clear. And obviously, in their communications, when they do their drawdowns and make those purchases, we are kind of the controllers over that, because we would not approve or actually make a purchase for something that goes against the policies for what we have. So there would be an extra line of defense for that concern, but it'd definitely be a good thing to have noted during this voting time.
Jeff Dorkeg, City Attorney. What was the prize you said, Member Sierra? Because what was it they were planning to win? Cash?
They just had $1,000 just in the line item as an award.
Right, and when they didn't know what it was, they didn't know what they were going to do.
Yeah, and they had, I think Member Williams had mentioned it, and what he did, they had no issue, I guess, finding alternatives to it, as opposed to just a $1,000 check.
Right, which we wouldn't be able to do anyway. So it would go to, okay, yeah, exactly. They won't get reimbursed for money for a prize as cash. They're going to have to figure out a appropriate prize within the rules anyway, but which all aligns with what Chibuda said. Okay, thank you.
Chair Parker, will gift cards be permissible for as a gift?
We have, Chibuda Llanes, for the record, we do not allow gift cards. There's a very rigorous process in regards to making sure it goes to who you gave it to, since it's considered cash value. So that would be a no. Thank you.
Member Lamont Johnson, for the record, I feel like we shouldn't give them any extra funding that they've asked for. I feel like the gift card process and the rewards they're trying to give out is kind of a little, I don't want to say it rudely, but it's kind of a little like finicky and very difficult to go around it. So I feel like we should just give them the requested amount of $2,000.
Chair Parker, I disagree. I think it's a perk to kind of bring people in. As we all know, when you put events together, sometimes people don't show up, but when people know that it might be prizes or different opportunities, they tend to show up. So sorry about that, but I do disagree.
Member Lamont Johnson, for the record, I personally disagree with that. I feel like the opportunity for an entrepreneurship pitch is actually really good, and it's good enough to bring people out with, you know, a Shark Tank style with investors and not actually offer a prize.
Chair Parker, I disagree. This is awesome. Sometimes I would say everyone in the community doesn't understand Shark Tank, and those that may be exposed to it come from different opportunities and resources. So sometimes when you say, hey, I have a gift prize or there's an opportunity for you to get this, for someone who comes from a community that who normally wouldn't get it, will probably show up. So it's when you have these opportunities, you want to make sure you put it out for everyone, not just for a select group, because sometimes only select groups have certain interests that other select groups doesn't, that come from different environments, if that makes any sense. But there you go, that's it.
Member Lamont Johnson, for the record, I still kind of disagree with that. I feel like the money is kind of just going off to the side and seeing it as a shut-off side to bring people in to, you know, want to attend the event. I feel like attending the event is kind of important for, you know, a networking opportunity or an opportunity to meet new people and at least not so maintained towards the prize money.
Member Etzel here for the record. I'm a little confused, but I also disagree and agree with both of you at the same time. I think we're going to be here all night now, but I am kind of leaning more with Member Johnson because I don't believe the focus of this event should even be on prize money, because based on what the event's even about, I don't even really see a need for a prize to be involved in the money, so I don't believe it should be given in their funding.
Member Sierra, for the record, jumping in. Member Johnson, just for a little clarification, you had mentioned giving them that $2,000 in funding. That would include the $1,000 prize I had asked about. So their funding request is $1,000 for the award and prize, and then the additional funding for just carrying out the event at large. I just wanted to point that out in case you do make a motion. Yeah.
Member Lamont Johnson, for the record, I was going to get on to that. I was going to say about the, I feel like it should be stipulations with the prize money, and it should only be that they should switch that to being able to provide better, like, booths and snacks and other food options and drink and entertainment options, instead of all pouring $1,000 into prize money. I feel like $1,000 of prize money is just kind of a lot, and I don't know what you would do with $1,000. I feel like that's kind of just leaning towards a carnival fair, if that makes sense, to draw gifts and prizes.
Member Fajardo, reading through their application, they're stating that the additional funds will go for miscellaneous materials, not necessarily price. I think we're just hanging on prices and prices, but they're saying it's miscellaneous material like lanyard for competitors and then large checks, but a miscellaneous material can be used any way other than prize money.
Member Lamont Johnson, for the record, I'm on the last page. It says award / prize, and if you subtract all the other totals, which is venue rental, audio visual equipment, and website setup, and miscellaneous lanyards for participation check, I feel like the miscellaneous part, I understand that, but the award/prize, just like awarding and prizing would kind of be towards gift cards and other, kind of like miscellaneous purchases that are, it kind of just sums the two. Miscellaneous and award prize kind of play hand in hand. But it says $0 right here in miscellaneous instead of award prize/prize. So I feel like we should lessen it to $1,000 to what they're exactly asking for, instead of, well, if we do $2,000, you have to require a stipulation of no award/prize.
Chair Rodriguez, just to clarify, in their budget narrative, it says that their award and prizes value at $500 each for top pitch competitors, and not all 1,000 is going towards one person.
I agree with, Member Sarkeesian, for the record, I agree with Member Johnson, and I think that $1,000 for a prize is a little bit of a stretch, and even if it's $500 each, I feel like they should try to get people to join the event without the prize stipulation and just have people do it because they're actually passionate about sharing their business.
Member Flank, for the record, I'm not real familiar with Shark Tank, but is there a prize? They win something, right? So if these are entrepreneurs and you want to bring these kids or people together in this format as Shark Tank, then there should be a prize. I'm thinking about it in this respect. No cash, of course, we can't do that, but something, say the 2 or 3 top people would get something that would help their business. I don't know, small businesses need a lot of things, perhaps some computers or some software, access to information or something in that regard. But if we're going to fund a project like this that's based on Shark Tank format, there should be a prize, because that's what they do on Shark Tank.
Shabutam Yanis, for the record. I just want to make it clear, because I'm looking through notes and through just a recollection of it, is that they did understand that they cannot utilize prizes in the way that we are speaking of, and that they said that one of the opportunities that they would utilize the extra funding was to pay for a more robust marketing package. So instead of utilizing maybe this PowerPoint style, they could use the money for someone that would advance their marketing to like a greater level. So they were made aware that this is not for, like fun little knickknacks or whatever that looks like to everyone in this room. But just keep that in mind. I will say that Chairperson Rodriguez, we will need a motion soon because we have to make a couple steps back really quick for something.
Member Lamaya Johnson, for the record. I noticed she brought up how the Shark Tank style is usually awards and other prizes, but it's on Shark Tank. There's no really prizes or awards given out to the participants, or it's more of like an investor style, or people would like to hear their pitch, and if they don't like their pitch, they don't get the money that they're being offered or the best offer. So it's kind of, that's what I was thinking about it from, a perspective of a Shark Tank style of why would they need prizes if there's going to be people already there to view their event and see their unique ideas that they're trying to stand out from. So I'm just kind of trying to see how is it that the prize money plays a part in this. I'm not really understanding that. I feel like the prize money is just kind of like a way to bring people into the event, which I understand that they want to bring people into the event, but I feel like networking or either posting it on social media would be a better way to do that.
Chair Rodriguez.
I'm sorry.
No, you're...
Member Flank.
You go first.
There are many ways to bring people to events. And I look at this as a carrot for people to come, for small businesses to engage and want to be part of this networking opportunity. Sure, you got your Facebook, your Instagram, or whoever. Depending upon what it is you're offering, they're not necessarily effective ways, speaking from experience, of getting people there. Food, money, prizes are the things that help push the attendance. So if this group, sure, you can make a few changes. It is a Shark Tank style. And if they can come up with a way that they can offer something at the end, people will want to come. Small businesses would want to be engaged. So if they look at what kind of things do small businesses need and offer those as a prize at the end. I look at this as, what if you had some little tchotchkes or something at an event? Same thing, you're giving it away.
Member Chair Rodriguez, for the record, I agree with Member Flank. I was a part of the Raiders Den program this summer, and it's basically an entrepreneurial program where you work at Allegiant Stadium with a bunch of venture capitalists, private equity, bankers. You're networking, and I compare it to this because it already is a networking event in itself. There is people that you are going to network with, but additionally, whoever of those groups built a project strong enough for Allegiant Stadium to partner with, those three would go up against each other, and then the group that won would get funded their project, and then they would be paired with Allegiant Stadium. So like the group that won had an app. It was like a wayfinding app for Allegiant Stadium. They won, and then they got funded their cash to make the app and the software, and then on top of that, they got a lot of connections. And I just think that's like a huge motivator and a huge resource to their project.
Member Lamaya Johnson, for the record, I understand where you're coming from about the Legion Stadium and the Raiders and how it brought out it brought people out to go want to work with the Allegiant Stadium and like bring people in and get an opportunity. But I kind of see the money as just a chance to just bring people out and be like more of a motivator. I feel like offering a smaller prize of at least like maybe some business cards, because it doesn't specify where the money would go. I feel like the money would go places that wouldn't really need to be, it wouldn't really need to go. And I feel like it could at least, we could cut it back because it's only seen as award/prize money. It doesn't specify what the prize money is. I feel like the prize money should only be limited down to at least $100 or maybe $200 at least, because I'm kind of understanding where you're coming from about it, but it's not really playing hand in hand still, because I feel like at least that networking opportunity, because networking opportunities are still the best chance at getting your business out there. But I'm just confused about the prize money. Where would it play a part in that?
Member Flank, they have no marketing or promotions in there. I don't see any funding for that. Like Facebook and whatever apps you can use. I think we're stuck on the money, but it's not a dollar prize. We can stipulate that, but I think there should be something at the end, some kind of an award that's related to business or helping a business. And that can be part of the stipulation. Clearly, they need to do some marketing and advertising. Part of this $1,000 that's listed up here as award prize could be used as that. I think that this group is worthy of a $2,000 grant for this event. It's just a matter of how are the funds going to be distributed? Are they spending it? They need to spend on some marketing because that is not it on here. The amount of refreshments, that seems to be low. So I think with them knowing that they don't have $1,000 to give away, they need to take a look at how they can distribute the $2,000. I think they're worthy of it. I think it'd be a great event.
Chibutam Yanes for the record. So I want to just clarify once again that we are not able to utilize our P card for some of the items that you all are discussing. So there's physically a no can do to our side of things. So when we go to the store, we cannot buy cash prizes. We cannot buy gift cards. We cannot do any of some of the things that are mentioned. I really loved hearing that maybe business cards or something that would be a little bit more tangible. That's some great things to put into the recommendation. And then also, please note that the grand total, just so we could put it in perspective, because this helps me, was $45,000 to give out. The requested amount right now is $41,326. That means we only have $3,674 to give out to, majority, if not all 21 groups, okay? So above what they asked. Yeah, above what they asked, okay? So keep that in mind, and it is a great time, and I would recommend someone do a recommendation of a vote, and you can go from there, and then we'll kind of see where the vote lies.
Member Flank, I'd like to make a motion to grant a $2,000 award to this group, the entrepreneurship pitch competition, with the stipulation that there's no cash reward in this program, and that the group will need to reassess how these funds can be spent that are within our guidelines.
All those in support of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
The motion carries.
Jeff Dorkak, City Attorney. I think that was group 4 of our 21 groups. We quickly have to go back to groups 1, 2, and 3. Chibutam is going to explain why there was some discrepancy about what they were asking above the requested amount.
Thank you, Chibutam Yanes, for the record. So in the application, you could see there was a space to do the actual amount total, and for clarification I've been given is that it should have been in item number 16 only for the additional that they're seeking. So some people did the math incorrectly in regards to adding that to their overall ask. So what we're just going to do is go back to number 1 briefly, is that number 1, their overall ask was $2,000, and as you can go and see at number 16, they requested $200 in addition to the $2,000 for stuffed animals as prizes for games. So this would be an additional $200 for the Advanced Technologies Academy Black Student Union, A Taste of Culture. So we're just going to re-vote on that item. You all voted to give $2,000, and this is asking for an additional $200 if you see fit.
Chair Rodriguez, my question is, do they already have prizes in their project?
Chair Rodriguez, if this is Chibutam Yanes for the record, if you go down under 16, you'll see what they budgeted out, and it looks as if there are no animal stuffed prizes at the booths, but it does appear that they have candy, chocolates, chips, cotton candy, and popcorn. So I don't know if that's the staple of their event or if that would be addition to the prize. So under number 16 on all groups, you can see the budget and the breakdown with the words.
Chair Rodriguez, are there any comments regarding the additional funding? Member Johnson.
Member Johnson, for the record, I feel like it shouldn't be given the $200 extra. I feel like they already have the enough needed supplies, and I don't feel like the stuffed animals is really a needed item. Motion for $2,000.
I second the motion.
All those who support the motion say aye.
Give me 1 second here. This is the first group where someone just made a motion for 2,000, which is what we already awarded them, correct?
Yes.
We only need a motion if somebody wants to add any money.
Yeah.
If nobody has a motion,
We'll just keep going.
we'll just plow ahead. Okay? Anyone have a motion to give them the 200 or whatever they wanted?
Yeah. Please speak up.
Fajardo, here we go.
Member Fajardo, yes, I agree on giving them the extra $200 for the stuffed animals. Yes, that's my motion.
So Chair, let's take that motion. I'm not dismissing the 2,000, but we would just do the same thing over again. So this one is actually a different one. So let's see if this passes. If it doesn't, then we can be done. So we have a motion on the floor to award the first group, which is which one?
It is
The Black Student Union.
yes, advanced technologies.
2,200. So now you can call for the vote.
All those who support the motion say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay.
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 Okay, so unless there are any alternative motions, we will stick with the 2,000 for the first group. Chair, see if anybody else has any motions. If not, we'll move on to review the second group.
Chair Rodriguez, are there any more motions?
Chair Parker, once we go through all the groups and there's money left over, can we do another motion?
Chibutam Yanes for the record, yes, we can. Okay, on to group two. This is the ACA Teens Youth Enrichment Group serving our community. The initial ask was for $2,000. As you can see on line item 16, they asked for an additional $265, and that would be for paintbrushes, stencils, lip balm, and socks. Additional $265 for lip balms and socks.
Jeff Dorkak, City Attorney. So this group, like the first group, was awarded 2,000. So if anyone wants to give them the 265 or any amount between 2,000 and whatever, now's your chance. Make the motion. If not, the chair will ask, and then she can move on to the third group for us to review.
Chair Rodriguez, is there any motions over this additional funding for this group?
Member Lamaya Johnson, for the record, I have a motion for the $2,200 they're requesting.
Chibutam Yanes, it's $265.
I have a motion for only $200 extra, $2,200.
All those in support of this motion say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay.
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 We're going to need the nays to identify themselves so we can put it in properly.
Chair Rodriguez.
Andrew Sierra.
Member Fajardo.
Was that it? And then everybody else was a yay or an aye. Motion carries. So $200 was added to the second group. So now to review the third group.
Chibutam Yanes for the record, so this one's the opposite. It is they requested 2,000 and they actually stated that they do not need any additional cost. So the initial motion was passed for 2,400. This is to give them 2,000 of what they asked. What's the group? The group name is the CASLV DECA DECA College Readiness Program.
Chair Parker, I motion to keep it the same.
All those in support of this motion say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
So now we're moving on to number 5. Okay, this is a Chiboutin for the record. This is community projects, art and reading, a book tasting. In regards to this, they asked for $2,000. And you will see on section number 16, they asked for an additional $1,000. This is for art supplies such as crayons, specialty paper, glue, markers, etc. And feel free to review that and go for it. So the ask was $2,000 plus an additional $1,000.
Chair Rodriguez, is there any comment regarding the funding of this group? Member Johnson.
Member Lamaya Johnson, for the record, I think they should only get $2,000.
Member Sarkeesian, I agree. I think they already have $1,000 for art supplies, and just adding 1,000 more is not really necessary.
I make a motion to give the art and reading a book tasting their requested $2,000. All those in support of this motion say aye.
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 All those opposed
Aye.
say nay. The motion carries.
Thank you. Chiboutin for the record. Moving on to EM Training Corps Ready, Prep, Go Family Emergency Preparedness Fair. Their initial request is for $2,000. If you look at item number 16, you see that they requested an additional $4,000 to purchase 52 additional 4-person emergency kits.
Chair Rodriguez, any comment regarding the additional funding of this group?
Chair Parker, I motion to keep it at the asking price. $2,000.
Member Camarillo, I'm noticing on 16 it says 4,000 would purchase 52 additional 4-person emergency kits. Is that supposed to be 400 or 4,000?
Chiboutin for the record, Member Camarillo. I can only assume, but through the budget, if you see on the items for purchase for project, that a 4-person pre-packed emergency bag for 26 individuals is $2,000. So if you double that amount, it looks like $4,000 is the correct ask because they're doubling the supply as well.
Thank you.
Any other, Chair Rodriguez, any other comment regarding the funding of this group? I make a motion to, all those who support this motion say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion carries.
Chiboutin for the record, just to keep in mind of where we're at, we have $2,574 left to give out. We're moving on to the next individual. It is Equipo Academy, and their project is Community Gardens. The initial ask was $2,000. If you go down to item number 16, you see that they had an additional cost breakdown for supplies that grand totaled to an additional $2,000. Please take a moment to review and comments, questions, or we can put a motion up.
Chair Rodriguez, any comment regarding the additional funding?
Member Lamaya Johnson, for the record, as I'm looking at their list right now, I'm seeing a bunch of items that are on here that are kind of a little, I don't know. Do they have any of these items at their school? Because I remember them specifically stating that they had, that the original club was a gardening club beforehand. So I'm thinking that they would have a hoe, a claw, and shovels and spades and gloves, but I'm not really too sure. And definitely a hose. I think they would have a hose.
Member Sierra, for the record, I do remember they had mentioned having a former gardening club, but when I'm not sure if someone on the board asked, but when asked about, I think something regarding the tools that they had, they weren't really able to go into depth about it just because what they're trying to do is restart it. So I don't think they would know what currently exists, because I do remember they had mentioned that the former advisor for the club isn't any longer at the current school. So I'm not too sure if they would even know to begin with.
Member Lamias Johnson, for the record, I motion for $2,200.
All those in support of the motion say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay.
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 We need all those who said nay to state their name, please.
Member Flank.
Member Parker.
Member Sarkeesian.
Motion carries.
And Chibutam Yanis, oh, can you hear me? Oh, Chibutam Yanis, for the record, I just want to be clear on number 7. The ask was for $2,000, and you all passed a motion right now for an additional $200. Perfect, thank you. Moving on to number 8. This is the Blessing Project. The requested amount was $2,000. And as you can see by item number 16, there are various line items totaling $242. The total asking, in addition to the extra, would be, the base is $2,000 plus $242.
Chair Rodriguez, is there any comment regarding this group?
Member Lamias Johnson, for the record, I feel like we should give them the $2,000 asked for. Not the $2,000 extra they're asking for, just $2,000.
I make a motion to give the Blessing Project the requested $2,000. All those in support of this motion say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Chibutam Yanis, for the record. We have up next the Tea and Family Dance, and this is with the organization Hyde Park. The requested amount was $2,000. As you can see on line item number 16, there are various amounts of $1,500 and $300, asking for an additional $1,800 of money.
Chair Rodriguez, is there any comment regarding extra funding of this group?
Member
Member Sarkeesian, wouldn't it be 1,850 if they include the few teacups that they mentioned in the bottom? This is just for clarification.
Chibutam Yanes, for the record, I appreciate your clarification on that. I did see that they put maybe $50, so I didn't know if that was a definitive. But yes, if you are counting what the maybe was versus the grand totaled amount, it would be $1,850.
Member Matt Etzel, I have a comment regarding this group. I noticed that they already have some donated supplies and materials. If I'm reading it correctly, it says $950 and then a $550 cash donation. And from what I see that they're requesting in their additional funding that we're considering giving them right now, I noticed that they already have a lot of this already in their main budget. So I'd like to make a motion to give this group their requested amount and no more.
We need the requested amount on the record.
$2,000 is what the group requested.
All those who support the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Chibutam Yanes, for the record. Our next group is K. Carl Elementary School Student Council. This is Pocket Full of Kisses. The requested amount was $2,000. And as you can see on item, item number 16, there's no additional fund requested.
I motion to give K. Carl Elementary School Student Council Pocket Full of Kisses their requested $2,000. All those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Chibutam Yanes, for the record. We're on to our next group. This is National Honor Society CSNHS West, and this is Project 150 School Supplies. They asked for a total of $2,000 with an additional $359.97. Please take a moment to review what the additional costs were under point number 16.
Is there any comment, Chair Rodriguez, is there any comment regarding extra funding of this group?
Member Lamias Johnson, for the record, I motion that we give them $100 extra, so $2,100.
All those who support this motion say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay.
Nay. I need those who are aye to state their names, please.
Member Lamias Johnson.
Member Matt Etzel.
Member David Nildberg.
The motion does not carry. Chair Rodriguez, I make a motion to give them the recommended $2,000. All those who support the motion say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay.
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 I need those who voted nay to state their name, please.
Member Flank.
Member Sarkeesian.
Member Lamias Johnson.
Member Fajardo.
Motion does not carry.
Member Flank. Since that motion did not carry, someone else needs to make a motion, correct?
Member Parker, I motion to give them the requested $2,000 and review at the end of the budget to see what we have left over.
Member Flank, for clarification, was the 2,000 the last vote? It was not passed, correct?
That is correct.
Correct, that would be my only comment to Member Parker. Chibuden's keeping track of how much extra money is left, so at the end, we're going to alert the board to how much money is available, and individual members can bring up groups that they might want to add that money to. So that's available for no matter what. So basically, it would be a repetitive $2,000 motion, so we're going to need something else. So I think so far, 2,000 and 2,200 has failed. So either someone give us a comment about what you're looking for, or someone give us a third motion, please.
Member Lamias Johnson, for the record, I have a comment to make about this motion, about the $2,100 motion I made. I noticed here, if you look at number 16, it says that they need, example, paint brushes and stencils. And paint, I feel like they can find the paint brushes for relatively cheap if they get a donation. So I'm just trying to see if we can at least give them $100 extra for the stencils and paint.
Member Flank, that's part of the example. This group is actually asking for some other supplies. So what you just referenced was the example that they give in 16.
Oh, Member Lamias Johnson, for the record. Oh, I see.
Yes.
I feel like we should give them at least $100 for the brushes, and then they can handle the paint and the stencils, because I know paint brushes aren't that expensive as the paint is and the stencils.
Chibude Mianes, for the record, was there already a 2,100 motion on there? So what happens? Thank you. What happens is, because that has already been rejected, we will have to put another motion up that is separate from 2,000 or 2,100, because those both failed. So it might be more, it might be less, but at this time, both of those motions failed.
Member Flank, I'd like to make a motion for the 2,000 plus the additional funds that they have requested, which are like school supplies and things that they need to purchase for their project.
Chibude Mianes, for the record, can you please give the dollar amount that you're seeking to?
The amount would be $2,359.97.
Chibude Mianes, for the record, the clarity is that the additional is
$359.97.
Member Fajardo, I just have a question. Can we round up? No? Yeah, okay. That motion's already on the floor, right? Oh.
All those who support the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay.
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 Nay. Those who have said nay, please state your name.
Chloe Camarillo.
Lamias Johnson.
Maria Fajardo.
Member Sierra.
The motion carries.
Chibude Mianes, for the record, we are on to our next participant. This is mental health awareness and mental health awareness fair. The ask is $2,000 with no additional ask.
Member Matt Edsel, I make a motion to give this group their full requested amount of money, which is $2,000.
All those who support the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Chabutam Yanes for the record. The next participant that we're reviewing is National Junior Honor Society, Feels Like Home. The requested amount is $2,000 with an additional amount of $200. Please review point number 16 for additional request.
Is there any comment regarding extra funding of this group?
Member Sierra, at least as it pertains to this group, I don't think additional funding would be necessary for them to be able to carry out the core components of that group, which is why I believe, I'm not making a motion, but I believe we should just give them the requested amount.
Member Flank, I make a motion for the requested amount of $2,000.
All those who support the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Chabutam Yanes for the record. Just to help with our record keeping down here, when you ask for the support of the motion, can you just make it clear what it was? Because this was just for 2,000, correct?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear down there. Thank you. Okay, on to the next. Chabutam Yanes for the record. This is Northwest Career and Technology Academy Student Council, and this is the activity bags for pediatric cancer patients. The requested amount is $1,826 with a requested additional amount of $200. And you can make them whole numbers.
Member Flank, I think this is a great project. I was really impressed with this group. I'd like to make a motion for $2,000 plus the $200 that they requested additional. So the motion is for $2,200.
All those who support the motion say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Chabutam Yanes for the record. I apologize for the delay. Just trying to keep up with the difference, so we gave them, so I can make sure we know how much we have at the end. We're on to number 15. This is the Peak Performers, and the project is Homeless Care Packages, HCP. The requested amount is $1,000. So you can see on point number 16 with an additional request of approximately $400.
Member Flank, for the record, I think this is a good project, and I was surprised that they were only requesting $1,000. So I'd like to make a motion for the $1,000 plus the additional funds that they've requested.
Chairman Yanes, for the record. Member Rodriguez, Chairman Rodriguez, can you please make sure that you're allowing space for comments, questions, concerns? And please remember, youth, we want you to speak up for this board. Thank you. I know there's a motion on the table, and we can vote this one through if we need to, but please carry after me into the procession of questions, comments, leave that open for a little bit, and then individuals, after she says, or no longer have any questions or comments, motions are welcomed, okay? I see, please excuse me one moment.
There's a motion on the floor, so we can take comments on the motion, or we can go right to a vote on the motion, Chair.
Chair Rodriguez, we should deny the motion so that we can further discuss other funding, because I do have an additional comment that I did ask them what they would do with extra funding, and they would have 400 for the sleeping bags, but when I asked them any more additional funding, with more money than the 400, they would get better quality for the bags, because they were saying that they did not, the bag was low quality. So that's my comment.
Member Lamias Johnson, for the record, I would like to make a comment about their group too. I noticed that the bags were they mentioned that the bags were kind of not as good as they want them to be. So I don't really think that they need a lot of extra funding. I feel like they should just only get like $150, maybe $200, not like $500 and up. I feel like $200 should do. 1,000 plus 200.
Member Parker, I just asked, what's the balance right now for the budget before we make a motion?
Chairman Yanes, the balance we have for additional funding right now is $1,640.03.
And how many more groups do we have to go through?
We are currently on group number 15 with 6 more groups to go through.
Thank you.
Any more comment on the motion? All those who support the motion say aye.
Can I have clarification on the motion one more time?
Oh.
Yes.
Is it my motion or someone else's? Okay.
Please state your name.
Member Flank.
Chair Rodriguez, sorry. Continue. Just to clarify, the motion is on 2,400.
No, they only requested 1,000.
1,400.
Right,
Okay.
yeah. My motion is for the requested amount of 1,000 plus an additional 400, total of 1,400.
All those in support of this motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Nay. The motion carries.
Chabutam Yanes, for the record, we're on to the next group, number 16, Rocking Rams, Rock the School 24. The requested amount was $2,000. And as you can see on item number 16, there was an additional cost request for $200.
Chair Rodriguez, are there any comments regarding the funding of this group?
Member Lamias Johnson, for the record, whenever I was going over this group, I noticed a couple of things that were kind of interesting to me. The $600 for rocks, for painting rocks, and I didn't want to be rude about this, but I feel like the $600 for painting rocks is kind of excessive, if that makes sense. I feel like you can find painting rocks for cheaper. I understand wanting to have enough rocks for a group, but at the calculations and the cost for that is kind of a lot. I feel like we should only give them $250, $300, 1,000. Hold on, let me do the totals really fast. I think we should only give them $1,750, and I say this for a reason, but I would like to hear everybody's thoughts first.
Member Matt Edsel, I agree with that statement.
Member Flank, I made a note here that it did seem to be a lot of money for rocks, and kind of wondering where are these rocks coming from?
Member Lamias Johnson, for the record, I noticed something too whenever I was going online. I went online during the break and I found rocks for cheaper for only 200 and something. You can get about 2,000 rocks, and I was kind of confused. Where is the extra 400 going towards these rocks?
Chair Rodriguez, Member Johnson, would you like to make a motion with a stipulation that even though we're lowering the cost of the amount, that cost is only going towards the rocks, just to clarify?
Member Lamias Johnson, for the record, I would like to make a motion for $1,750 and a stipulation for $300 to go to the rocks, and can they please find the rocks on Amazon, painting rocks?
Chabuda Yanes, for the record, there's additional comments on the floor.
Member Sierra, Member Johnson, just for it to be easier on Chabudam's end, if you can send her that link so she knows what you're referring to. That way when she goes back to the group about what they're purchasing, it's already sorted out. Thank you.
Member Lamias Johnson, I can send her the link.
All those who support the motion of the 1,750 say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
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 Could I get the name of the second nay, please?
Maria Fajardo.
The motion carries.
Member Parker, may I make a comment? Trying to see, how can I say it? Can we, as a group, consider that everyone that went on stage to ask for whether they were asking for did a great job, and they're all kind of young and new to this element? If we have extra money to give more to any other group, why take away from a group who's presented? You know, that's one thing I would say, just take that in consideration, meaning that, like, hey, if someone presented and did a great job, why take away when we know we have extra money?
Is this, Member Edsel, is this comment, I know it's a general comment, but is that also the end of it regarding this group with the rocks?
Yes, and that's for any group that...
Member Lamias Johnson, for the record, can I please show him what I found on Amazon, if you do not mind for a second?
Yeah, sidebar with him, and we'll go ahead with the next item.
Member Matt Edsel with one additional comment regarding Parker's comment. I don't believe this would be taking away from a group. I believe this would be saving a group money if we find cheaper alternatives to get a rock compared to spending extra $100. So I see what you're saying, and I would love to obviously give more money to other groups when we have it, but I think this is actually helping a group, not harming a group with this motion.
Chabuda Yanes, for the record, so something that I could put ease of mind to use that as the city, we definitely pledge to be ethical with the way that we utilize money, especially grant monies. So in regards to that, we are always seeking, we're not always sourcing for people, but we definitely keep in mind what it looks like, because we have a 3-bid process as a general like consensus for the city, where we're going with what's most affordable but also higher quality. So there is a level of just your consideration too, that there may be, this isn't our project, and there may be some products that, though we think can be put on a pebble, they wanted to help the local individual here that has a rocking company. So we don't all know what it looks like. So if those weren't questions we fully asked, during our time, let's hold off on making full assumptions, because we did have opportunity to ask them those questions. And if it's something we need to in the future, let's not make assumptions on what we probably think it is versus what it's not, because I totally understand there's a cheaper option for everything, and all the, as we go back and give more money and take away money or whatever that looks like, just keep that in mind, that some projects are like, I'm going down the street to my local this person that sells it at this price, and that actually goes back to schools or whatever that looks like, okay? And I don't know any of that, but I'm saying if it's not something, let's not fully assume, since they aren't here to defend or even rebuttal those questions. So there's been a few really great questions, and if I don't know, I'm gonna say I assume. If it says maybe on here, it's a maybe in regards to the price, and we'll just go from there. Member Johnson.
Member Johnson, for the record, I understand what you're saying about it goes back to, you know, them wanting to, if they want, it's a specific seller they want to buy from, and I completely understand that.
Member Madison, I agree with both the previous regarding I understood and I understand, and thank you, that is a great point, and these questions we don't have all the answers to, so it does make it hard to discuss.
Member Flank, thank you for those comments. I appreciate that. You have a valid point with regards to we don't know where they shopped. So, and of course, prices do differ. Perhaps at the end we can reconsider adding that back in if there's funds available.
Absolutely. We will keep those things in consideration, especially because we have a couple that are like maybe if, and that's why I do want you all to take time to read point number 16 for what they're asking, because it is a little ambiguous. It may be clear. So we'll go from there. So on to the next item, if no one else has any questions, comments, or concerns. Okay, so I'm going to move on to number 17. And just so I'm clear, number 16, it was $1,750 awarded to the last group. Okay, now we're moving on to number 17, and that is the STEM Days Robotics, Bricks, and Kicks. They requested $2,000 with no additional funding.
Member Flank, I'd like to...
Chibutam Yanis, for the record. Chairman, please open it up.
Oh.
Chairperson, I'm so sorry. Please open it up.
Chair Rodriguez, is there any comments regarding the additional funding of this group? Member Flank.
Member Flank, since there are no questions or discussion for additional funding, I make a motion for their request of $2,000.
Are there any comments regarding this motion?
Member Fajardo, I believe there's an question number 16 continues on the next page. I believe they're asking for an extra.
Oh, I apologize. Chibutam Yanis, for the record. That is true. It's cut off in my printing. Is that this group, number 17, and I'll just read the name again for the record, is the Some Days Robotics Bricks and Kicks, asked for an initial $2,000 with an additional, I apologize, what looks like $1,500 plus $380, making that $1,880.
Member Flank, my motion remains the same, just 2,000.
Are there any comments regarding this? Chair Rodriguez, are there any comments regarding this motion? All those who support the requested amount say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Chabuda Mianes for the record. On to our next group, number 18, All Sparks Breakathon, where Imagination takes the lead as the event. The requested was $2,000. And then on section number 16, you will see that the requested amount is $984. Please take a moment to read over number 16, as it's kind of extensive what they're looking for and asking. There are various prices in there, so I'm hoping that is the correct amount. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Chair Rodriguez, are there any comments regarding extra funding?
Member Lamaya Johnson for the record. I have a motion for 2,000, but I would like to say something before that. If I remember this group correctly, I remember asking them, is there any chance they can bring any more people in if we gave them more money? And they did not approve of that. And the money would only be used to improve and buy more Legos. So I'm just kind of stuck on that right there, if I should increase it more than 2,000 or just leave it at 2,000, because I don't feel like that's fair to other people to not be able to attend the event, because I understand that there might be kids out there who wanted to attend this event but weren't able to because of the limit.
Chair Rodriguez, just to clarify, is that only a comment or a motion?
A motion and a comment.
Could you clarify your motion, please?
I motion $2,000 only be given to this group. The requested 2,000.
Is there any comment regarding this motion?
Member Sarkeesian, I agree with Member Johnson, but I would like to note that they did mention that buying more Legos would mean that they would bring more members because they would have more supplies.
Member Etzel, I agree with the motion, and I believe that we should only give them the requested amount, and maybe at the end see if there's any additional hundreds we could throw towards them, but this would not be my first choice if we were to give more money to a group and spend it on Legos. So I think we should just give them the requested amount.
Member Fajardo, I just have a comment. This group, it was very impressive how young this group was, and the amount of detail that they were able to convey in 5 minutes, and the amount of detail that it looks like they took their time, very thoroughly went through each question. I really, I'm impressed for the age, and impressed how much detail they gave us.
Chair Rodriguez, are there any further comments on the motion?
Member Sierra, for the record, no disagreements on the motion at all, but just another quick comment. Because this is a first-time group, and this has happened in the past, not to say it's a bad thing whatsoever, but I'm always just a bit skeptical giving a large set of money for these supplies. Not to say it won't be a great event, because they did do a good job at thoroughly explaining what they're going to be doing, but for a one-time event, for supplies that they'll hold on to, it's just food for thought.
Member Lamias Johnson, for the record, as I read over some of the supplies they've listed, we can go back over this motion. I did notice they do need tables for the event, but I'm just kind of skeptical about the whole not being able to invite more than a certain amount of people. That kind of just seems unfair in my opinion, and it's kind of, I don't want to be like rude about it. I feel like more people should be invited to come out towards this event, and it should be directed towards having fun and bringing people out.
Chair Rodriguez, any further questions on the motion, or comments on the motion?
Member Sarkeesian, as someone who's done a project last year for YNAP at a library, I don't think we should necessarily get upset, or I don't know how you would call it, with the fact that they can't fit that much people, because some venues, they just don't have enough space.
Chair Rodriguez, any further comments? All those who support the motion of the Brickathon where Imagine takes lead for the requested $2,000 say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Chabutam Yanis for the record. We're moving on to our next group. This is group number 19. This is the Just One project, and it's the new student welcome basket and youth resource guide. The requested amount was $2,000. If you go over to item number 16, it has a bit of confusion, but I'd like you all to review number 16 as the cost being asked is an additional $2,000 to my understanding, and there's an example laid out there, but so I believe it is $2,000 for the base request and an additional $2,000. It is unclear as to what that is for, and I give you back the floor.
Chair Rodriguez, is there any comments regarding the funding of this group?
Member Matt Etzel for the record. I don't have a motion in mind, I just have some comments. I do believe this is a great group with a great idea that is fairly unique, and I think that's something that is necessary, and they can benefit a lot of people and families with this project. I do believe that we should give them their full requested amount, and I don't believe we'll have enough leftover money to give them the additional $2,000, but I do think we should heavily consider giving them additional money, because it does say with additional funding they can print even more hard copies of their youth resource guide, which would be a very great addition to families and new people in the valley. And they said they're able to print up to 500 possibly with 2,000, but I don't think we have 2,000 to give, but I think we should consider giving them extra funding.
Member Lamias Johnson, for the record, as I looked over the totals here, I was reading over it a little bit, and it said grant amount requested was $2,000, and the anticipated or received donations were $2,000. So I'm thinking that it's asking for just $2,000 and not requesting another $2,000 on top of that. I think they were already requesting $2,000, but not asking for an additional $2,000.
Chabutam Yanis for the record, that could be right, but it's also unclear.
Member Fajardo, I know in the past, when we were unclear about something in the application, we would call the group. Is that something we can do this year again?
Jeff Dorkek, City Attorney. So you would have Chibudan do that while we move on to the next group?
Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that too. I think that's what we did. So why don't we can recess, or we can plow ahead. Why don't you introduce the next one, and we'll do the motion on it, and you give them a call, and we'll come back to them.
Chibutam Yanes, for the record, we're on to item number 20, or group number 20. This is the youth, helping youth, making drawstring backpacks for homeless youth. That was a tongue twister, sorry. The total request is $2,000. And as you can see on item number 16, there was no definitive amount asked, but they did put some information as to what they would utilize extra funds for. So there's no additional cost, there's no additional request for cost, and it is $2,000.
Chair Rodriguez, is there any comment regarding the funding of this group?
Member Lamont Johnson, for the record, I have a question really quickly. How much money do we have left to give extra funding? Do we have? Ms. Chibutam, how much extra funding do we have to give?
Chibutam Yanes, for the record, $1,490.03. $1,490.03.
Thank you so much. I have a motion that we give $2,400.
Are there any comments, Chair Rodriguez, are there any comments regarding the motion?
Member Madetzel, for the record, I think that is a great motion that we should heavily consider. They also will have, what I read is 1,000 donated supplies and materials. So with our additional 400 plus their full amount requested of 2,000, I believe we can make a difference for this project that would be greatly beneficial.
Member Flank, this group was so impressive to me because it's kids helping each other. It's a labor-intensive project as well. Somebody's going to have to make those backpacks. And the fact that they want to help other kids is important. So I would support that motion on the floor.
Chair Rodriguez, are there any additional comments regarding the motion?
Deputy City Clerk Brian Couch could confirm that's $2,000 and additional $400. That was the motion?
Yes.
Thank you.
All those who Chair Rodriguez, all those who support the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
The motion carries.
Chibutam Yanes, for the record, I reached out to participant number 19 for the Just One project for the care packages. They did not reach back out to me yet, but we can, if we hear back from them while we're in deliberations, then we can utilize that information to make a decision. But I'm going to move on to number 21 so we could keep going and give them a little time to call back. Right now, our total access money that we do have is $1,090.03. Please keep in mind it's not a requirement to utilize all the funding, but if we do see it fit, we definitely can continue to give individuals funding. The last one, and please be sure that if you're unable to vote on this, to speak up after comments are asked by Chairperson Rodriguez. And this is for Magical Moments Makers, and this is serving our schools. Though in the box it says $2,500, the actual initial ask is $2,000. On item number 16, you'll see they asked for an additional $325. The floor is yours.
Chair Rodriguez, is there any comments regarding the additional funding of this group?
Member Lamaya Johnson, for the record, I actually really like this project, but as I see here, I feel like we should give them like $250 extra instead of $350, because I feel like some of these other items that were listed can be accessible otherwise, and they can see if they can get like a donation listing for some of their items like stencils or maybe paintbrushes, or if they can at least find some other way to get their items.
Okay, this is my project. I am unable to vote during this time for this motion.
Are there any further comments on this group?
I have further comments, no questions. Just to congratulate this group and this project. I think it's a great idea and it's a very useful idea. I'm having trouble with some of the numbers right now, so I don't think I'll be able to put it together in words to make a motion, but I believe this group should get the full amount they requested for and any additional money or services.
Chair Rodriguez, just to clarify, are you making a motion?
No, I'm not making a motion because I don't have the numbers in my head, but I just think that they should get the numbers.
Member Lamaya Johnson, for the record, I have a comment and then I would like to make a motion. So as I looked here on the item purchases for the project, I noticed the copy paper in bulk. I noticed copy paper, and the math games. I think this project is amazing and everything's good about it, but I understand the different prices for copy paper and would like to add a stipulation on the items per se. But okay, the stipulation would have to be to buy them on Amazon because you can find them cheaper is the only stipulation I would like to add. That's it, just Amazon. Oh, and Member Lamaya Johnson, for the record, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The requested amount I would like to approve was $2,000 plus an extra $250.
Chair Rodriguez, are there any comments on this motion?
I have an additional motion. I think we should, so Member Matt Etzel, I think my motion will be to approve the group of their full requested amount of $2,000 and to approve their additional $325 asked instead of $250 or $350 asked.
Chair Rodriguez, just to clarify, we can only do one motion at a time. So if this denies, then you can carry on.
Understood and understand. Thank you.
Member Parker, I would ask if you can kind of disregard that request of buying from Amazon. I think we should let the presenter choose where they want to buy.
Member Lamaya Johnson, for the record, if you would like, I can show you. There is different copy paper selections and other like math game selections and washable marker selections on Amazon than are in the traditional cheaper stores, and they will arrive in bulk and packages, so that way it is better for the group.
Chair Rodriguez, I agree with Member Parker, just because they do have the free will to buy the items where they choose, and we did allow all the other groups to choose to buy where they chose, so we should allow this group to choose where they would like to choose as well.
Okay, Member Lamaya Johnson, for a record, then can I please take back the restriction of buying it on Amazon? Can I make a suggestion of buying it on Amazon, not a restriction, just a suggestion?
And then, so Chair, we have the 2250 motion on the floor, if you want to call for a vote on that, and then you have a backup motion ready after, if you need it.
All those who support the 2250 motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Deputy City Clerk, please, those who have stated nay, please state your name.
Matthew Etzel.
David Neldberg.
Parker.
Maria Fajardo.
Member Camarillo.
The motion does not carry.
So Member Metzel, do you want to restate your motion, and then the Chair can call for a vote on that one?
Member Etzel, I can try to restate my motion, but again, I don't know if I'll say the numbers right. 325, okay, all right, perfect. Member Matt Etzel here. My motion for this group is to approve their full requested amount of $2,000, and then to also approve their requested additional funding of $325. Thank you.
Chair Rodriguez, are there any comments regarding this motion? All those who support the motion say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Chibutam Yanis for the record. We are going to circle back up to number 19 to put a motion into place. The group did not call me back, so we will have to move forward with the information that we currently have. I appreciate all of your time and effort on this board. After this, we will continue through the agenda item as we've completed all of our groups, which is really exciting. With that last group of an additional $325 being awarded, we're right down to about $700 for what is available. So going back to group number 19, the Just One Project, the new Students Welcome Packet and Youth Resource Guide, it was $2,000 with an additional possible $2,000, or it was a possible not $2,000. It was unclear, and we did not get clarification on that. The floor is Chairperson Rodriguez. Sorry.
Chair Rodriguez, are there any comments on this group?
Member Lamias Johnson for the record. As I read here at the funding source, the YNAP, it says anticipated or already received donations, cash, or goods or services. So that could mean paper, the supplies that they needed. They're only asking for $2,000, but I don't see a requested. It says grant amount requested. It doesn't say if they're asking for an extra amount. So I motion that we do just the normal $2,000 that they're asking for, because I can't say that they're asking for an additional, but all I can see from here is they're requesting $2,000.
Member Matt Etzel with additional comments when ready. Okay, we're ready. So, I sort of agree with that statement, and I love this group and everything that they're pledging to do, and the resource guides and the hard copy books that they're making for these families. And it does say that they don't really have an amount that they're asking additionally. From what I read, it seems like they're open to more funding, and I would be open to giving them more funding in order for them to create more hard copies and family baskets. I don't have a motion ready at this time, but I think we should consider giving them part of the $700 left over.
Chair Rodriguez, I agree. This group was honestly such a unique idea, and I really do love how they're using their resources and the idea that they came up with to help all these different families. So I agree with Member Etzel that we should give them additional funding.
Member Flank, just to make a comment about the additional funding for this group. I think that perhaps we should reconsider the group that we took funds from before we move forward on the additional funds. Because I think at the time that that decision was made, you know, we're talking about the cost of the rocks and things like that, and perhaps that's not something that we as a body should be considering. What we need to do is consider the essence of the project and leave it at that. If we think that someone may be paying too much for something, then we would have to look at all of the projects and kind of make a determination, are they paying too much? Is it too much in their budget? So I think we need to decide what we're going to do with the Rock the School 24 and the amount that was approved for $1750. And I have to confess, I am one that voted for that, but after discussion about it, I'd like to revisit that.
Member Lamyas Johnson, for the record, I have 2 comments. There is one group I did notice. I would like to know. There's 2 groups I would like to.
Chibutam Yanis, for the record, I apologize. We need to stay on the matter that we're on right now. We need to close up this loop, and then we will have the opportunity to go back. But we have not completed for item number 19, the individual. And this was only stating that it was $2,000 with no clarification if there was an additional $2,000. So if there is a motion, I believe was semi on the floor, please restate that motion, vote, and then we can continue in conversation.
Member Madetzel ready with the motion, if nobody has any additional comments.
Motion for $2,000 requested.
Chair Rodriguez, just to clarify, we have a motion from Member Johnson for $2,000. All those who support this motion say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
The motion carries.
Jeff Dorkak, City Attorney. So just to set the table where we are, you finished all 21 groups. It's 5:30. The food is here. The food is getting cold. We have $765 extra left. So what we can do is, and I don't want to rush anyone, but I just want to be honest with your options. We can go eat right now and come back, or if you can rapidly do something with the 765, we can finish this item and basically wrap up the meeting here in about 5 to 10 minutes. So it's basically up to Chair how you want to do it, and if you have any feedback immediately from the committee.
Chair Rodriguez, any comments on whether we would like recess or to wrap up the meeting?
Member Essel, I vote to just stay here and finish.
Member Lamyas Johnson, I vote to go to recess because there is a couple of groups I would like to speak about.
Member Parker, just because Member Johnson said he wanted to speak about more things, we should go to recess.
Member Flake, let's go to recess.
The board
Hey, but
is
before
now,
we go to recess, I got to get out of here quick, so can I get a group picture before we get out of here? Thank you.
the board is now in recess. The board is now back from recess.
Chibutam Yanes for the record. We are back on item number 5, discussion for possible action regarding the scoring and recommended funding of the Youth Neighborhood Association Partnership Program for fiscal year 2023-2024. At this time, we'd like to continue into any comments we have. Just to make it clear is that we have an excess of $765.03, that's 03. And we have gone through all participants at this time, but would like to open it up for any kind of comments that we have.
Chair Rodriguez, does the board have any comments?
Member Lamias Johnson for the record. As I went back and noticed a couple of groups, as I mentioned last time, the first group I would like to start off with is, give me 1 second. I would like to start off with the Mental Health Awareness Mental Wellness Fair. And if I do remember correctly, there is no items that are allowed to be used for prizes and or, like specified cash prizes. But I have a question about this project. It says large fair prizes for raffle. What would that include exactly? Would that include like raffle prizes, or would that include like cash prizes, like money, like gift cards?
Go ahead.
I was asking you the question, Miss.
Yep. I just want to make sure that you didn't have any further things to add. So just to be clear, is that what we can do, Chibutam Yanes for the record, I apologize. What you can do is we could take a minute and reread through some of the items that they said. So on on budget narrative, you'll see that they're aiming to raise awareness through a sense of community, that what they're doing is they're fostering this outreach, and it's going to really be about banners, wallets, brochures for this event. The event, to my understanding, aims to feel what would be kind of like a fair of some sort. So as we spoke on, there is no area where we should be guessing as to what they would use it for. So let's take a moment and look through to see what those items are and if we can get any indicators. If not, we just won't be able to make assumptions on what those additional items would be used for. And this is a great place to let you all know as you continue on the board, if you so choose. Mark this down right now, because these are great questions to ask next year to make sure that you're really getting those answers in those 5 minutes, because I could try to call this individual, but I'm not sure that they would answer for the time we have. And this is tab number 12, the first group after tab 2. This is the Mental Health Awareness, Mental Wellness Fair. So, Member Johnson, I apologize for not fully answering your questions, but the best that we can deduct is that its items to purchase for the project are rubber ducks, bracelet, bubble tubes, lanyards. All of those items are listed in the project breakdown. So I can only imagine it's going to run just something like a fair of some sort.
Okay, thank you so much. I did have another question. And that question was for, which project was it again? I'm trying to find it. Give me 1 second. Excuse me. Where's this project? Not the school supplies one.
Chibutam Yanes for the record. Member Johnson, while you find that question. Let's ask other individuals to continue their pursuit.
Chair Rodriguez, I think it's appropriate that we go back to the Rocking Rams Rock the School, where we deducted from their 600.
Chairperson Rodriguez, is there any statement you'd like to make around that?
Yes, I would like to give them back their funds, whether that be towards the rocks or anything, or towards other materials, but that we do give them back their funding.
Chibutam Yanis for the record. That school is Rocking Rams Rocks the School. The initial ask was for $2,000 with an additional $200 equaling $2,200. And they were awarded $1,750.
Chair Rodriguez, are there any comments on that project?
Member Sierra, only comment here is that if we do award them back their full money, just making sure we don't have any stipulations regarding where or how they spend the money.
Chair Rodriguez, are there any further comments? Member Johnson.
Member Johnson, for the record, I actually do have a comment. I wanted to speak on the rocks again. I feel like $600 is kind of a lot for the rocks. I see the price calculations right down there, and I just feel like it is kind of excessive to spend $600 on some rocks. I see the rocks are the main subject of the topic, and as I have shown As I have shown Member Parker right before he had left, I had shown him on Amazon. I had found some rocks for $14.99, and compared to the calculations I had did to $600 rocks divided by how many? 2,000 students. That would be around 2,000 divided by 600.
Chibutam Yanis for the record. Thank you for that. So there is just comment on the table. You all can comment. You are more than welcome, Member Rodriguez, to put a motion into action as these comments are going by. So please, everyone, join in and continue to add that. But just so you know, there was no motion on the floor.
Chair Rodriguez, I motion to give the Rocking Rams Rock the School their full requested $2,000 without any stipulations.
Chibutam Yanis, they asked for an additional $200. Is yours to only give them what they asked for of the $2,000?
Only the requested $2,000. Are there any comments on the motion?
So we'll give them the 2,000. Member Fajardo. So we'll give them the 2,000 and disregard the additional request of $200? Yeah, okay.
Any other comments? Member Johnson.
Member Johnson, for the record, so I just want to make sure that we're adding to their funds, because I personally feel that the $300 to $200 I had previously motioned was fair because of the price for the rocks. I did the cost totals, and it was $33 per, the pack of rocks that I had shown previously, which would equal up to $600, which doesn't really, that doesn't really make sense to me.
Member Flank, just an observation. This is a budget. These are not actual dollars. They made the request. Clearly, this group has done the research and have come up with these numbers. It's not for this body to determine the cost of items in any of these budgets. If we have a problem, that should have been, and I included, should have asked the question at the time. I don't think that we should use hindsight and say maybe this is too much when we've already let it pass. This is a budget, and that's what we should treat it as. So I support the 350 going back to the rock group for a total of 2,000.
Member Etzel, I agree with that statement, and I also agree with the motion that the chair has presented. I believe that they should be granted their full 2,000, nothing more, nothing less.
Chair Rodriguez, and I just agree with Chibutam that we can't make assumptions about where this money or where they're getting the rocks from, especially if it's local or something like that they should get the full amount because they made the calculations. This is our budget, their budget, and we didn't ask those questions when the group was presented to us.
Chibutam, be honest, for the record, there was a couple of information going back and forth, so I want to make it clear. Member Flank said that it was an additional 350 for correction, and for the record, it was to bring an additional $250 to bring them back to 2,000.
Yes, I'm sorry. It's the bring them back to 2,000.
Perfect. So
thank you.
Just, I heard you all second that, but want to make sure we were bringing the motion on the floor for 2,000 versus, I think it was like 21.
For 2,000. That was the chair's motion, correct?
All those who support giving the requested 2,000 to the Rocking Rams, who support the motion, say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Chibutam Yanis, for the record, at this time we have an excess of $515 available to give to any other groups or not. It is completely up to all of the board members, but we have now given back money, and that's where we stand in our overall.
Member Fajardo, I would like to go back and review a Taste of Culture, Advanced Technologies Academy Black Student Union, and grant them the extra 200 that they put in their application.
Chair Rodriguez, are there any more comments on the additional funding? I make a motion to give a Taste of Culture an extra 200 towards their requested 2,000. Are there any comments on this motion?
Aye.
All those in support of the motion say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Deputy City Clerk, for the record, those who stated nay, please state your names.
Member Flank.
Member Sierra.
The motion carries.
They're going to get 22.
Member Lamaya Johnson, for the record, I would like to bring up the next group that I really was contemplating over, the entrepreneurship pitch competition. I don't understand the award/prize money is still really a really big topic. I'm not understanding what would they need $1,000 in prize money for, and for that to be given to the first, second, and third place runner-ups. That doesn't really I understand giving it in like a currency of wanting it to be like, you know, business opportunities, but it doesn't specify there like prize money is business opportunities or networking opportunities and helping them further their business. It just specifies award/prize money, and I'm kind of confused how would that go around if that was set up as in a gift card currency, because Miss Shibuda, as you stated, that it cannot be given in gift cards and or gift cards and or hand cash money. It has to go towards something. So I'm confused. Miss Shibuya, can you please state the Shibuda? Sorry, can you please state the amount that was approved?
Absolutely. Chibutam Yanes for the record. This is in regards to number 4, which would be the CLV DECA Entrepreneurship Pitch Competition. The award that was given and approved by you all was the baseline of $2,000 with an additional $300. And is your question around what the award line item could be?
Yes, and I have a comment about that too.
Would you like me to answer your question?
Yes, I would. Yes, because I feel like it was stated that it cannot go towards hand cash or gift cards. And what is the? Can you please state to me what the limitation is on that so I can better explain this better of my reasoning?
Absolutely. So the explanation around that is that the city does not allow for cash prizes. So we would not be giving this in gift cards. And I just want to draw everyone's attention to the budget narrative, which would be under the total. In the line where it states that they want awards and prizes valued at $500 each for the top pitch competitors to be used in funding their startup businesses. So in regards to that, there was a question asked the day that they presented about that through member Williams. And our response was, if they want to give a cash prize value to an individual that is starting up a business, $500 is not that much money for a business winning award. If you know anything about business startups, $500 can get you probably 3 steps, and that's about it. So I'm not fully sure what they entail to do with it, but they cannot use it for cash value. One of the individuals that did present said that they would be willing to apply some kind of credit to an individual to buy some kind of software or any type of thing that would enhance their project. And that's what we let them know that would be able to be used in lieu of money or just some type of frivolous award. If that helps with your concerns. But as to what they're actually going to utilize it for, I wouldn't know, since I'm not the person that created this presentation or this project. But one thing I can say, again, just to ease everyone's mind, is that working at the city, we do have checks and balances. We're always being very integrous, and we're doing the right thing with the money that we receive, especially through grant funds. So we're always sourcing to see if it has the best value for the best price. And then in addition to that, we aren't physically able to utilize our P cards, which is our procurement cards, where we would make these purchases for just cash prizes.
Thank you so much. That did clear up a couple of questions I had about that. Member Lamaya Johnson for the record. So about the awards and prizes, it doesn't directly state what those prizes would entail. So that's where I'm kind of confused at giving the extra $350 at on top of the requested total, which that...
Chibutam Yanes for the record. I apologize, let me make this clear, is that that was not ad lib, that was direct statement from here where they said what they would use the award for. It says award and prizes valued at $500 each for the top pitch competitors to be used in funding their startup business.
Yes, I'm Member Lamaya Johnson for the record. I'm talking about the $350, was it $300 or $350? the $300 that was approved extra, besides the grant that was approved, the venue rental was included with the extra, which shouldn't it make more sense to include the I'm trying to think how I want to phrase this. It should make more sense to include the venue rental, the audio, visual, and website, and the miscellaneous purchases at lanyard for participation check, which would make more sense than having just awards/prizes on there. I feel like it should have been thought over more about the awards/prizes, because I understand the prizes. Let's forget the prizes for a second. Everything else is on there in total. Everything else is off the table. And we're thinking about the venue, the audio, the website setup, and the miscellaneous purchases. That's included right there. But I'm not understanding where the prizes come in and all of that in total. That's not really including the venue, and it's just counting the awards/prizes first before everything else.
Member Sierra.
Member Johnson, just for clarification, with the concerns that you do you have, I guess, any stipulations or motion to propose?
Yes, I do have a motion. I have a motion for 1,500 or 1,000. Actually, I changed my motion to 1,400.
Chibutam Yanez, can you please clarify, you want, because the total right now that was awarded was 2,300. You're asking for to go down 900 or to go down 1,400?
To go down to 1,400.
Chair Rodriguez, does the board have any comments over this motion? All those in favor of this motion, all those who support the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
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 The motion does not carry.
Chibutam Yanez, for the record, the standing motion that was approved is for 2,300 and it stands as is.
Member Fajardo, I would like to see if we could go back to the National Junior Honor Society Feel Like Home and award them the extra $200 that they requested.
Can you
Member
repeat the group one more time, Member Etzel? What group are we looking at now?
Member Fajardo, the group is National Junior Honor Society Feel Like Home.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Chibutam Yanez, for the record, so the motion on the table, just to confirm with what we have in our pot right now, we have $215 left. And you just requested that for Feels Like Home, number 13. Oh, 315, I'm sorry. $315 left. And for what you just mentioned for group number 13, you would like them to receive an additional $200, totaling $2,200.
Member Fajardo, yes, that's correct.
Chair Rodriguez, is there any comments on this motion? Member Sierra.
Not to prolong the meeting, but just as my comment, I just don't see the necessity of giving additional funding, considering, I think, what the project that they have before them. I commend them for doing something great within our community, but when I compare it to all the other projects we might have given additional funding to, it doesn't necessarily stand out. And so for those reasons, I just can't support giving additional funding.
Any further comments on the motion? Chair Rodriguez. All those who support the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
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 The motion is denied, or does not carry.
Chabuda, to be honest, for the record, that was Feels Like Home, and the standing motion is currently 2,000 for what they requested with no additional 200.
Jeff Dorkak, City Attorney. As Shabudin mentioned earlier, don't feel obligated to spend all the money. If there's $315 left, if someone wants to do something with all that money or two more motions, we can do that. But if nobody has anything to say, the chair is going to be able to just proceed with onto the next item. But before we do that, we're going to want to wrap up by reiterating what all the final amounts were to the clerk's office. So do we have any more comments or motions, requests to deal with the last $315?
Do any board members have any further comments or questions regarding the groups and their funding?
Chabuda, to be honest, for the record, we're going to review the awarded amounts for each group that we currently have right now, and the amount. So right now, group number 1, Advanced Technologies, Black Student Union, Taste of Culture, they were awarded $2,200. The second group, this is the ACA Teens Youth Enrichment Group, aka Teens Serving Our Community. They requested $2,000, were given an additional, bringing the total to $2,200. Group 3, this is the CASLV DECA College Readiness Program Project. They requested $2,400 and were given the additional to come to a total of $2,400. I apologize, $2,000 plus the $400. The next group, number 4, was CASLV DECA Entrepreneurship Pitch Competition. This was an original request of $2,000 plus a $300, and it was awarded $2,300. Group number 5, Community Projects, Art and Reading, a Book Tasting. The initial amount that was asked was for $2,000 plus an additional $1,000. The total, there was no additional amount awarded, and the total amount for this group is $2,000. Number 6, this is the EM Training Corps Ready Prep Go Family Emergency Preparedness program. They initially asked for $2,000 plus $4,000 in extra funding, and they were awarded $2,000. Number 7, this is Equipo Academy. Program is Community Garden. They asked for $2,000 plus an additional $2,000. $2,200 was awarded. Number 8, Heroes in Heart, the Blessing Project. They initially asked for $2,000 and asked for an additional $242. $2,000 was awarded. Number 9, we have Hyde Park Tea and Family Dance. They asked for $2,000 with an additional ask of $1,850. There was no additional money rewarded, and this is $2,000. They received $2,000. Number 10, this is K. Carl Elementary School Student Council, Pocket Full of Kisses, and they asked for $2,000 and was awarded $2,000. Number 11, this is a National Honor Society CSN HS West, Project 150 School Supply Packages. This school This project asked for $2,000 with an additional $359.97. They were awarded $2,359.97. Sorry. The next group, number 12, is mental health awareness, with the project of being mental wellness fair. Asked for $2,000 with no additional ask, and they were awarded $2,000. Number 13, National Junior Honor Society Feels Like Home. They initially asked for $1,826 plus an additional amount of $200. They were awarded $2,200. Number 14, I'm so sorry, I read the wrong line there. Number 13, National Junior Honor Society Feels Like Home was $2,000 was the request plus an additional $200, and they were not awarded additional, and they were awarded $2,000. Number 14, Northwest Career and Technical Academy Student Council activity bags for pediatric cancer patients program. They asked for $1,826 plus an additional $200. They were awarded $2,200. Number 15, the Peak Performers Project Homeless Care Packages, HCP. They initially asked for $1,000 plus an additional $400. They were awarded $1,400. Number 16, this is the Rocking Rams Rock the School 24. They initially requested $2,000 plus a $200 extra. They were awarded $2,000. Number 17, STEM Days. STEM Days Robotics Bricks and Kicks program initially asked for $2,000 with an additional $1,880. They were not awarded extra, and they received $2,000. Number 18, the All Sparks Brickathon, where imagination takes the lead. They initially asked for $2,000 plus $984. They were awarded $2,000. Number 19, the Just One Project New Student Welcome Basket and Youth Resource Guide. They initially asked for $2,000 plus an additional $2,000. They were awarded $2,000. Number 20, Youth Helping Youth, making drawstring backpacks for homeless youth. They initially asked for $2,000 with no additional cost, and they were awarded an additional $400, totaling $2,400. 21, Magical Moment Makers Serving Our School. Initially asked for $2,000 with an additional $325. They were awarded the additional, totaling $2,325. Those are the list of all 21 participants that applied and were awarded monies. The total grant fund that we had was $45,000, and we utilized almost all the funds minus $315. Total it? Can we receive a quick recess? Thank you.
The board is now in recess.
Does anyone remember for number 4 with, we went back and forth a little bit on this one, and that is the, let's see, the entrepreneurship, or, sorry. Back from, can you pull us back from recess?
Just let her ask the question.
Okay, sorry. So just for entrepreneurship pitch and competition, does anyone remember having 2,300 as our vote?
Or who made the
Or who made the motion? Was it?
I'm pretty sure the motion was for 2,000, but when we circled back to it, it was labeled as 2,300 when we didn't add the additional 300.
Member Flank, I am sure I didn't request the additional funds. Did not. Are you off 300?
The board is now back from recess.
Okay, ultimately, we got the numbers correct, and we have, the only changes to make to what Chibuda mentioned was the one we were figuring out who made the motion on, which was member Brenda Flank. So the fourth group, which was the one we spent the most time talking about, they ended up at $2,000, not $2,300. And the only other correction for the record, and I say this won't change anything because no one else had any other comments. Ultimately, we are at $43,600 and just under $85 allocated. So there's really $1,315.03 left, but the board was comfortable moving forward without spending the remainder of the money. We did the same last year, and I think that's where we are today. So with that, I would just say, unless someone has some last comments, I would just move on to the next item. I think we're all square at this point.
Chair Rodriguez, does the board have any final comments regarding the funds? Okay. Moving on to item number 6, citizen participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the board. No subject may be acted upon by the board unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, please come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion of any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. Seeing as there is no comment, moving on to item number 7, adjournment. This meeting is now adjourned.
Good job, everyone. You did a great job this year.